The secret lies with Charlotte.
Who's Charlotte?
Oh, not even Mr. Carroll knew that. Now look here, Ben. The Freemasons among our founding fathers left us clues like these. The unfinished pyramid, the all-seeing eye, symbols of the Knights Templar, guardians of the treasure. They're speaking to us through these.
Okay, the secret. See, folk
are useful to you.
Folk know that there's information that is crucial to the development of the world. So there's a group of people who is doing everything within their power to withhold that information. And there's another small group of people who are finding strategic ways to release that information to the public. They can't just come out and say it. So they have to release it in films and books and very subtly put the information out there so that those with eyes to see will see the message and know what to do. So the question is, are you developing your mind and your body to receive the message? Because it's all around us now. And with this information, with the analysis of this information, you will be able to change your condition in life. There's no reason for black folk to be as poor as we are.
That's right.
To be as sick as we are. To be as distressed as we are. With the information right at our fingertips to change our condition overnight. Overnight. The secret, national treasure. Yes, as I said, I got a 3-hour lecture I do on National Treasure, the movie, and just break it all down. The essence of national treasure is the national treasure is not gold and diamonds and precious minerals unearthed from the soil. The real national treasure are the precious memories that are unearthed in the mind, right here. You got to dig deep inside yourself to bring out the jewels, the things that will empower you to find your rightful place. So I'm just showing you how, just 3 examples thus far of what was happening in the 1970s to make you aware of what's been available. But I want to bring it on home now. I want to bring it on home to show you that no group, no organization did more to talk about secrets than my favorite group, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Earth, Wind, and Fire. The elements. Spend a few minutes looking at and talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire. All right? Earth, Wind, and Fire was a brainchild of Maurice White. White family came from Memphis, Tennessee, and then moved to Chicago. So Maurice and his brothers grew up in Chicago. And Earth, Wind, and Fire was one of the most successful bands in history. They just happened to be an R&B group, but they were one of the most successful bands in the late 70s and the early 80s. What's significant about Earth, Wind, and Fire is that they were one of the first groups with broad crossover appeal. And their music and their lyrics had a message. Right? Their music and their lyrics were both exoteric and esoteric. You know, it will make you get your groove on. But if you listen with your inner ear, you will hear the real secrets that Maurice White and Earth, Wind, and Fire were trying to impart. So regarding the music of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice said that music is the language of the soul. It seeks to communicate a message with everyone that is open to receive. We dance to the beat of the master drummer, which is the source of our creative spirit. There is also a feeling of inspiration that comes with the experience and appreciation of your roots and relating to your culture in a positive way. And regarding the creation of the group Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice said, and this is a direct quote, I came up with the name Earth, Wind, and Fire because my astrological chart had no water in it. Earth, air, and fire didn't sound right, so I used wind instead. I of what I wanted the group to look like. Now dig this. He said, I was reading Napoleon Hill's book, The Laws of Success, at the time, and I put the drawing in the back of the book. So he was tapping into this same knowledge about how to be successful, how to draw into you the things that you desire so that they may manifest themselves in your world. This is back in the 70s. So regarding his vision for Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice said, coming out of a period of social confusion in the 70s, I wanted Earth, Wind, and Fire to reflect the growing search for greater self-understanding, greater freedom from the resentments that we have placed on ourselves in terms of our individual potential. So Maurice was saying, I embedded in my music the keys to the power which would allow you to reach your potential. So if we look at Earth, Wind, and Fire, Earth, Wind, and Fire released 7 major hits, sold over 1 million copies each within 5 years. And on these albums, much of their music reflects this search for a greater self-understanding. And see, what's so significant about all of this, and I'm speaking to the young folk here in the audience specifically, you know, the music the young folk are listening today, it ain't music. It ain't music. And much of the music that they're listening to samples old school music from the 70s, from the 60s, and the 70s. Why do you sample old school music? They said because that was real music. Alright? So whenever people create something new or desire to create something new, they always engage in acts of Sankofa, whether they know it or not. They look back to get something from the past, a new future. And so they reach back to the 60s. That's when the music was alive. That's when there were messages in the music to transform the consciousness of tens of thousands of people throughout the United States and ultimately throughout the world. That's why the powers that be had to change the music.
Yes.
Had to change the music. Because you all were getting too close to this power. And again, the ability to hold on to the knowledge which had allowed them to support ancestors for generation after generation after generation. Some of the significant hits of Earth, Wind, and Fire are Power, Head to the Sky, Mighty Mighty, That's the Way of the World, Shining Star, Yearning and Yearning, See the Light, All About Love, Imagination, Serpentine Fire, and Fantasy. All of these songs have messages in which will help you to cultivate your higher consciousness and empower you to know yourself. What's significant about Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know, one of my favorite groups, because I discovered them at a very critical time in my life. I mean, I guess you know that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I learned a lot from Earth, Wind, and Fire, from analyzing their music, studying their music. 1976 was the Spirit album. The Spirit album dedicated to Charles Stepney. Charles Stepney was a writer and producer of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I believe he wrote After the Love Is Gone and a number of their produced all of their major early hits. And he died in 1976. So they devoted the album to his spirit. Says Spirit is devoted to the memory of Charles Stepney. It was the first album in which he saw comedic pyramids. And every album thereafter incorporated elements of ancient. He died, and as an ancestor, he spoke to Maurice White and said, Maurice, the time is right now to go back to Kemet. To go back to Kemet. Message to our people to help them progress. And so, one of the best Earth, Wind, and Fire albums came out in 1977. See, I mean, it was breathing. Earth, Wind, and Fire came came out with the album All